Imagina.AI.
In a world where ancient forests, deserts, snow-capped mountains, and the depths of lakes hide ancient secrets, there are legends of mysterious creatures that defy all logical explanation. These stories have been told by generations, whispered in dark and silent nights, by those who dare to enter territories that men consider forbidden. The protagonists of these legends are the monsters hidden in the shadows, whose existence has not been proven, but neither has it been denied. Chapter 1. The Guardian of the Forest, Bigfoot. In the thick forests of northwestern North America, there is talk of a being known as Bigfoot or Sasquatch. Some hunters claim to have found gigantic footprints perfectly marked in the wet ground. Others have seen blurred silhouettes among the trees, tall, hairy beings that disappear in the blink of an eye. The most famous story is told by an old man named Tomas, a woodcutter who lived in an isolated cabin. Thomas recounted seeing Bigfoot when a storm surprised him in the middle of the forest and forced him to take shelter under a fallen tree. It was then when he saw it, an immense creature, almost 3 meters tall. Covered with thick, dark fur. His eyes, red as embers, seemed to penetrate Tomas' soul. The creature did nothing. It simply looked at him and vanished into the shadows, leaving Tomas with his heart beating like a drum and a story that to this day, his children and grandchildren still tell, although few believe him. Scientists have tried to study the phenomenon by placing hidden cameras, but all they have obtained are blurry and distorted images. Some think that Bigfoot is a spiritual being, a guardian of the forests, who only lets himself be seen when he decides. Others believe it is an ancient species, a remnant of a forgotten time. However, every time someone disappears without a trace in those woods, suspicions resurface, and the legend of Bigfoot lives on. Chapter 2. The Abominable Snowman, the Yeti. In the frozen mountains of the Himalayas, there is a legend as old as time itself. The locals call her Yeti, the snowman. A creature that lives at the top of the mountains and whose howls can be heard on stormy nights. According to history, they can be heard in the mountains on stormy nights. As the stories say, the Yeti is a solitary being. Although some mountaineers say they have found groups of footprints from different footprints walking together. Gossip says that it is almost 3 meters high, as tall as the Bigfoot, but covered in white fur, which makes it invisible in the snow. Although his legend, it is surrounded by many disappearances. As far as we know, there are very few people alive who claim to have seen him, and coincidentally, none of them were seen by the eyes of the Yeti. Maybe for that reason, they are alive. However, those who have been unlucky enough to encounter him have never returned to tell the story. A team of British mountaineers who attempted to climb Everest in the 1970s reported seeing the Yeti. According to their story, while they were camping at an altitude of more than 6,000 meters, they felt heavy footsteps around their camp. Upon opening the door of the store, one of them saw an immense white figure standing on a rock right in front of him. When he tried to take a photo, the creature let out a piercing scream that echoed throughout the mountain and disappeared into the blizzard. The next day, they found enormous footprints in the snow. Much larger than those of any known human or animal. Since then, the story has been a source of debate. And although some think it was the result of altitude and exhaustion, others firmly believe that it was the Yeti, the guardian spirit of the mountains. Chapter 3. The Loch Ness Monster. Thousands of kilometers away from snowy mountains, in the depths of Loch Ness in Scotland, lies another mystery. Its name is Nessie, the lake monster. The first mention of this creature dates back to a 6th century manuscript. In it, a monk describes seeing a water dragon in the lake's waters. Over the years, more and more people have claimed to see Nessie. The time gaps are enormous. between people who have seen Nessie. They describe it as a creature with a long neck, a sturdy body, and dark skin, emerging from the lake's depths on foggy nights. In the 1930s, the famous surgeon's photograph showed a blurry figure resembling a dinosaur swimming in the lake. Though the image was later proven a hoax, sightings continued. Or we can also say that many testimonies from the inhabitants of the area continue to see it and confirm it. Logically, Nessie is not the cause of any disappearance of people or animals, but instead, it is a source of income. Since many tourists and curious people travel from all over the world to visit the famous Loch Ness in the hope to see the famous monster one day and drink the photo that shows its existence. The locals claim that Nessie is still there, observing from the depths, waiting for someone someday. I can see it in all its splendor. Scientists have made exhaustive explorations of the lake with sonar and submarines. But the only thing they have found, it is an overwhelming silence. Scottish geology could also be conducive to the monster. Well, the idea is not crazy. To take refuge in some underwater cave or grotto. He could even have gone out into the open sea. But is it possible to go out to sea without being seen? As many claim, it is a dinosaur. Specifically a plesiosaur. These lasted until extinction, KT, at the end of the Cretaceous period. We are talking about the famous meteorite, which led all dinosaurs to extinction, changing the climate on Earth. Could this specimen have survived in Scotland? Nessie remains an enigma, a ghost of the lake that some swear they have seen, but that no one has managed to capture until today. Chapter 4. The Chupacabra. In a place further south, in the rural areas of Mexico and Central America, a creature awakens the fear of peasants and farmers. This is the Chupacabra, a creature that, according to stories, it attacks cattle at night and drains their blood. The first sightings occurred in the 90s, when dead animals began to appear without a single drop of blood in their bodies, with mysterious puncture wounds in the neck. Some describe the Chupacabra as a small being, with spines on its back and red eyes that glow in the dark. Investigators have been unable to explain these deaths. Some think that the Chupacabra could be an unknown animal, a kind of nocturnal predator, which only comes out in search of fresh blood. Others believe that it could be a genetic mutation, or even a failed experiment. However, the mystery lives on. Every time an animal appears dead, with no apparent explanation, with strange marks on the neck, and without a single drop of blood in his system. The legend of the Chupacabra returns to conversations, filling with terror the hearts of those who believe in him. Legends or reality, all these creatures, the Bigfoot, the Yeti, Nessie, and the Chupacabra are, for many, simple legends. However, for those who have been fortunate enough, or the misfortune of meeting them, are very real. There are those who dedicate their lives to investigating these phenomena with cameras, sensors, and drones in the constant search for evidence. But with each attempt, the monsters seem to vanish, leaving only a trail of mystery and terror. Are they hiding on purpose, aware of the hunt that pursues them? Or are they really ancient guardians, protectors of nature, who show themselves only to those who know where to look? The legends of these monsters are a reminder that the world is much vaster and stranger than we can understand. Maybe they exist in a place between myth and reality, a space to which only the brave or the foolish can access. And as long as unsolved mysteries continue to exist, the stories of these monsters, they will continue to feed the dreams and nightmares of all those who deep down want to believe in the impossible.
Imagina.AI